Bonus stream. Ripping a high stakes 555 draft on DraftKings. I am the reigning champion in it. I'm going to try to take down $1 million. Let's do this, gang. All right, for anyone just discovering my channel, 1, just got a haircut. 2, my name is Liam Murphy. We are here today to draft a high-stakes best ball team. Going to take me a second here. Got to get set up. Got to get myself some water. Got a haircut. Just went on a bike ride. Drafting a 555 team on DraftKings.com. $1 million to first place. I am the reigning champion in this tournament. Won it last year where it was $250K to first. You know, felt like giving some bonus content today. Maybe I'll regret it later when I am doing a doubleheader with Pete later. Everyone say nice haircut in the chat. Thank you. Let me represent this for you guys. I want to do window. So, Dan Zach drafting next to me. Other than that, there's some high-stakes DFS names in here, but not anyone I know. I auto-drafted a team earlier today when I was streaming my drafters drafts. Like, literally the only times they can catch me on auto. It's a shame. It's happened before. We'll live from it. I auto-drafted one last year. I don't auto-draft a lot. And I didn't upload my full rankings yet, mainly because I'm about to make those, and it takes some time on DraftKings, but we like to laugh over here, Liam. Good name, good name. Adam says thoughts on Garrett Wilson and Joe Burrow injuries. So we're on the clock. We'll get to you, Adam. We're just going to go Diggs here. It's a lot to go from the players to the draft board, so you guys are going to live with the draft board view. I think Diggs is drawing live not to return. Like, there could be a big gap between Diggs and Tyreek Hill as far as, you know, like Tyreek Hill can approach 2,000 yards. I think a great Diggs season is probably 1,600. But he could also go as low as like 1,200 for if Kincaid legitimately does take, just, you know, demands targets and or a more healthy Davis. But the name of the game in playoff week best ball contest is not who scores the most points, right? It's when do you score those? Do you score enough points? And then how do you do in the playoff week? So, I don't know who this is. Is this the guy who got his Bellagio box drilled, Chris F? I mean, he's a name I recognize all the time. I recognize some of these names. Like Hoosier's in literally every single one. Dan's in most. Jay List is in most. Gordo's in most. Some of these other names are new. Some of the other names I noticed year over year. Yeah, that's the guy that got his Bellagio box drilled. That's funny. I didn't know who that was. He won a bracelet this year, the WSOP. Good for him. So, thoughts on Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson's not a worry. From what I could tell, he rolled an ankle. Not concerned with that. The two players I'm going to take are either Devontae Adams or Garrett Wilson, whoever is left for me. So yeah, rolled ankle for Garrett Wilson. Didn't seem like a big deal. Um, I do have a lot of Garrett Wilson. I view him similarly to Amon-Ra. This guy's on auto draft. Always good to note the auto drafters on DK. By default, they go for quarterbacks. Yeah, just precautions with Garrett Wilson. Joe Burrow. I have stated before that Jamar Chase is my 101. Obviously, going to be taking Jefferson over Chase while we suss out the Joe Burrow news. Even if Joe Burrow is out for the season, Chase for me does not fall past 107. You can see he still went 102 in this draft. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened to Burrow. No one does. I guess a calf. He's probably not going to play in training camp. They have a lot of continuity on their team. I don't think that's a big deal. As long as he's healthy, that's great. But I don't know what's up with Joe Burrow no more than you. Gonna get some water and then I'll be back. So yeah, I don't usually stream the 555s. I did last year. I recorded instead of streaming, just because I don't need anyone stream sniping me in a 555 draft for obviously a significant amount of money. It is $1 million to first. It's a big investment. Captured 2 auto drafters. Happens to the best of us. Happened to me today. Some people are rich enough and auto draft on purpose. Good for them. Other people get caught sleeping. And a very key thing to notice is when an auto drafter starts to take quarterbacks that people are comfortable going to QB or bad 2 and 3 QBs with. It's just good to take note of that. How long does a 555 take to fill? It really depends, Adam. It can take a long time. They go days sometimes where it does not fill. Stevenson, Ridley, and Gibbs on the clock for me. I do 3 wideouts too many times for sure. I need to get some more robust RB teams in my portfolio, but I can't help myself with Ridley, man. I was gonna go Gibbs there if I went RB. Just have a lot of Ramondre in my portfolio. But yeah, I'm comfortable vacuum up the wideouts. We'll see what the auto drafters do. The Haminator asked, is it fair to assume that the later you draft a player, the higher percent you can have of them? Example, if Kincaid was an 8th round pick, would want to be that 50%. Yeah, I mean, yes, what you're saying is both very logical and correct. If a guy is in the 1st round, I don't want 50% of that player. If a guy, you're talking about opportunity cost in economics terms. So Ramondre maybe makes it back to me, if not for the auto drafter. I'm in a weird spot right now where it's like, I just know Dan would not let Herbert fall to me. You just need to grab some running backs. We're betting on the Jags. ETN's the guy I grab in the 4th. I think he's got major downside risk if Bigsby is great and or if a lot of the passing touchdowns just go through the air. But he also has upside, right? Like there were shenanigans happening early in the year, and then he got hurt one week. It's okay if he's not catching a ton of balls. I will say, like, he was removed from injury last year, I think, maybe 2 years ago, last year. Anyways, there's room for him to grow. If all he is a breakaway runner, as long as he's at least splitting goal line work, could see him entering the top 10. And with the auto drafter grabbing 3 RB, could get squeezed. Was tempted to go Mike Williams there to get Herbert. In some rooms I can. The other day I went Eckler, Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen, and of course some donkey. Happens in the 5-5-5 too, guys. Some guy just had to have naked Herbert. But yes, back to Haminator's comment. The lower the cost of the player, the more you can have them. It's also, you want to think about, it's like, who are the players? Let's pretend I had 100% TJ Hawkinson. That would mean I'm not afraid of these guys going in the 4th round of either burying me from a season-long perspective or from a week 17 perspective, which I'm not confident that way, right? And it's also a variance question, right? Like we're trying to, in something like Best Ball Mania 4, you're trying to beat 650,000 entrants. If I truly believe a player is mispriced and they're cheap, I'm going to take that player a lot. I think player strength is an evaluation of mine. I already know that how Kincaid does or doesn't do, people are going to associate my takes with that. This is just kind of how the public is. But no one will give me credit for having like 100% Jerome Ford when he's a 19th round pick. I click Jerome Ford every single time on my early teams. No one will give me credit for having take Bigsby every single time in the 18th round, right? Like I'm a player takes guy from the get-go. A lot of my early teams are strong because of it. Now thinking about Brees there, where? At the 4-5? I would have thought about Brees here. I want to get that Dalvin discount on him. Chandler saying, Liam putting in that work today. You got Chandler. Also, I'm procrastinating doing the work I need to do to get my site launched. So I'd be shocked if Dan does not go Herbert. But it would be kind of funny if he's watching this to pass on him. Do I know him or do I know him? God, man. I got to guess how this dude next to me has players ranked. Because he's autoing. Fuck it. Jags Nation. Jags up. I get a lot of T-Law. I don't think I would have gotten him with Malin auto drafting. There are some guys I feel like there's a mini tier break, but not enough that I want to risk it. We're betting on the Jags, so obviously want to grab Trevor here. I do think there is a gap between him and Herbert, but at the same time, he's going to produce. He was very good last year, and now you insert Calvin Ridley, who I've been in on Calvin Ridley the whole offseason. Have a lot of Calvin Ridley. Now the hype is starting on him. He is a guy, though, that you could sometimes get in the 6th and 7th. Just because it's like, who wants to take him if you're not correlating him? If you don't got no haters, then you not popping. Gotta love the hate. Dude, I got a lot. You know. I think there's some haters. You guys can go check out my YouTube comments. There's things I need to work on. I know I'm ADHD. I know I talk over people sometimes. It's not because I'm rude. It's because I'm impassioned, right? Hmm. I don't feel like going Miles Sanders. Swift's ADP on this is around more expensive than on DK. I mean, than on Underdog. We're passing on Gabe Davis to go JSN this time. I'm just, what am I doing with Lockett, JSN, Metcalf? I draft them all. I like their Week 17 matchup. I like JSN's potential to have big spike weeks. It was between him and Gabe Davis. We already have Diggs. Finn, that dude's on auto draft, my guy. Or no, he turned off auto draft. So, and so did Ballin. So this sometimes happens. Sometimes the auto drafters notice they're on auto draft because DK notifies you every single pick if you have it set that way. So now we're going to see how they try to draft out of the hole. Obviously, Malin's team is totally fine, right? Like 3 RB, tight end, 2 wideouts, fixable. James has got a little bit more work to do. He's got alpha QB room, which also makes me going Trevor better to do. Like I would have taken like Deontay. I would have taken Godwin, Hollywood. Okay, so I got JSN instead. This is on DraftKings Coleman. By the way, guys, less than half of you watching typically are subscribed. So if you hit the like and subscribed, would feel nice. It's not always on purpose, Finn. Like I didn't on purposely auto draft a team. Some of like the really rich DFS players, like I have no idea how much these guys rake in, but it's literally not worth their time to grind. So they do auto draft. Am I going to max the 555? I'm not. It's not financially responsible, I think, to do $88,000 of entrance. I'm going to have a lot. I don't think maxing is necessarily. Also, I want the contest to overlay, right? So like later in the season, if it's overlaying by 1,000 entrants, there's no incentive for me to keep on filling it up because I can get wildcard teams, right? So I don't know how many I'll get. I am going live with Pete tonight at 9 p.m. for the randomizer, and then we're doing a best ball after dark. If you max, don't they give you the most rake back? I'll have to look into it, Harbs. Probably. I mean, I'm so bad, like I wasn't even grinding missions last year, but this year I'm grinding missions. So I might. I just don't see it. It's like you max, and then if you get second place, you made 40K. If you get first, you get $1 million though. It's just, I don't support this payout structure. It's outrageous what they did. $1 million to first, 125K to second. Can't agree with Trevor over Herbert. Well, Coleman, I recommend you learn how to read the draft board. See these little arrows here? This went Justin Herbert and then Trevor Lawrence. So I didn't have the choice to take Herbert, but I do appreciate your advice. We're going to grab a guy I'm big on, Darren Waller, lighting up camp. I have big time confidence. He is a much better pick than Dallas Goedert. The only question is, like, does he play healthy the whole season? Just win, Bildo says. Hey, baby, we're trying to go back to back. Mainly because how upset would that make the other grinders? Am I entering the 2K draft? Well, Adam, you're talking to the reigning champion. And if you want to watch the stream that took down the guy in chat. My bad, Coleman, if I gave you grief. There's a lot of chat. I'm trying to pick. I'm on the phone at the same time. But if you want to watch the winning 2K DraftKings video, go to my channel and go into the live videos after this and take a look. Because I recorded the winning team. But yeah, I'll probably enter it. Probably max it. 2 entrants. Okay. So I don't have a ton of this player, but we're going to grab James Cook. I have a lot more Damian Harris. I mean, the chance is there for him to take the role in this room where I just know Dan wants to get another running back. And he also is an ADP guy, so he would have taken him. And then also seeing that the alpha quarterback team is also trying to fill in the running back slot. So James Cook correlates with the Diggs pick. Feels like a good team. So our starting roster is quote unquote filled with ETN and Cook, Waller and tight end, Lawrence at QB, and then my wideout core filling the wideout spots in flex. Would I have considered Ingram if he didn't get taken one pick before? Maybe. Probably not because he regularly goes at the 9-8. Oh, guy in chat said he prefers. I'm Herbert over Trevor, but they're both good. Do I draft any Kyle Trask? Not yet. Camp reports were pretty glowing, so might. Will, I have no idea. It's just a superstition of mine. And like bad anecdotal evidence. Guys, after this video ends, for everyone who rides out the whole draft with me, refresh the stream when it ends, drop a comment in the chat, and say nice haircut. Or really whatever you want. Do I play any of the circuit contests, Pick'em / Survivor? I would, but I believe you need a courier in Vegas. So I don't. Paranoia wins championships. I wouldn't say I'm an overly paranoid person. Try not to stress things I don't have control over, but cautious, if you would. Not yet, MJK. You gotta do it it's for the YouTube algo. You gotta drop it in the comments. Yeah, you need a proxy. I might go back to Vegas for the live drafts for the FFPC. I am in one main event draft right now. We'll show you guys my start. I'm naming my teams. All I need is 1. And then if I do more, I'll name it all I need is 2. Pretty clever. Pretty clever. And we got a Pollard, Cup, and Metcalf start. Which if I could... How do I see the draft room? View draft board. So the draft board I'm about to show you is let me make my pick and not be a fool. So wide receiver being pretty sucked dry. Going to take Charbonnet. Should catch passes. An offense I want to bet on. Correlates with JSN. And you just never know when you see teams start RB on purpose. Are they an RB alpha person? So yeah, went Cup, Pollard, Metcalf. Chubb fell. So I had the decision of Pollard versus Chubb. I went with Pollard because the way this contest is played is it's total. Once you make the finals, it's total points weeks 15 through 17. And I really like the Cowboys 3-game stretch, and it's a PPR site. The Seahawks get to play both the Titans and the Steelers, potentially two of the worst secondaries in the NFL. It's also I went with Metcalf. It was between Metcalf and Ridley, though, I think, for me. And all the quarterbacks, same rounds as best ball, which is unusual for manage. So I bet there's a lot of variance where those guys go. All right, James back on auto. Got his 4th QB. You going to do some Murphy merch or what? Gonna get the best ball site launched first. Plan is it for it to be like $100 a year. I'm not going to lie. I would like to go Daniel Jones right now, but it's not in my blood to pass up on Rashad Penny. Again, I think a lot of these guys need running backs. You know, like the Walker McCaffrey drafter needs running backs. The Gibson Jones one does. Don't anticipate Dan drafting another one. This guy probably going to grab a 4th. So Penny wasn't making it back. Neither will Daniel. And I do want some Daniel Jones. But, took Trevor there. And I think there's just a big cliff at running back, and I can figure out quarterback. Like, I can go 3 quarterback if I want. How many hours a day do I spend drafting best ball teams? It varies, Adam. Some days I don't feel like doing it. There's some days where I draft a lot. Chess pieces lined up like an offense would be cool merch. That would be. Would you avoid Thursday night games for weeks 15 through 17? Jets-Browns week 17 Thursday night seems tough for briefs, especially. I don't know why that's bad for Brees specifically, that far out in the season. The theory of Thursday night games is historically they're a little bit lower scoring. However, that probably also correlates that the NFL has historically put bad teams on Thursday night. And I believe they did something different this year. I believe I remember reading about that. Would you say you draft around 1,000 teams by the time the season starts? Well, Adam, I max the Drafters Championship, the Draftkings Championship, and the Underdog Championship. So that right there is 450. And then it really depends on what I end up doing with like weekly winners, the Draftkings rando ones they drop. If I wanted to, I could probably like draft 8 hours a day and get through. I'm not a slow draft guy, which maybe I'll revisit later in the season and I'll just enter a lot of slows and it will suck for 2 weeks, but then I'll have those sweet sweats later in the season. Did I keep up the summer workouts? Planning on returning, Michael. Went on a bike ride today. Wanted to take some downtime after Vegas, but we're getting back in the lab, man. We got a haircut. Thursday can be flexed out 1 month in advance. Yeah, that I remember. Maybe is that the only change? Captain Osimo. So we like the team so far. We got bodies for the flex at running back and wide out. I do like counting on my wide receivers when I draft them early. So like I'm trying to absorb the points of these dudes almost every week. So James goes back on auto. I mean, I've never seen that. A dude autos, unautos, and then I think he like hand selected Tony and said, fuck it. And just started autoing again. Which, let's go, dude. I don't think I can pass on Aaron Rodgers here. Past ADP correlates with Wilson. There's some other players I want, but also makes passing on Daniel Jones because like the 2v2 is the running backs I'm looking at are Elijah Mitchell, Jamal Williams, Tank Bigsby, and Jalen Warren, which I like some of those guys, but I don't think any of them have the chance to be the RB1 out of the gate like Penny does. So I really like the Penny Rodgers combo over Jones and choose your running back. Get him past ADP 2 feels good with Garrett Wilson. Obviously, their games should be correlated. Buffalo and Chicago Week 17 games are primed for terrible weather. Any consideration? I don't stress weather in dome games as much as others in best ball. Go for it if that's how you feel it. But I've seen Josh Allen. It's really only wind I care about. I do not care about snow. I do not care about rain. I think it arguably helps the offense more when, because like it's cornerback is one of the hardest positions to play in the NFL. You slip on one route and a dude goes and scores, and it's way harder to keep your footing not knowing what route the wide receiver is going to run and shit. So can arguably help. Finn, who was the one player you was most right on last season? I don't know, man. I'm big on fades and I'm big on selections on targets. So like I'm generally very good at my fades. For example, in BBM2, there was a lot of LaVisca hype. I held strong and drafted 0. And I'm wrong all the time too. All right, so awesome. So Kincaid makes it back to us. He was the guy who would have taken over Rodgers. So I like it. I like the Waller-Kincaid combo. Yes, they both have week 13 buys, so potentially I add a third, but I really don't feel stressed. I think Waller has elite potential. I think Kincaid does too. I think both my quarterbacks have the ability to score 30 and pass for 300. I like all my wide receivers. I like my RB darts. So yeah, really, really strong team after autoing a shitty team. Tyler Conklin has everything is right in the roll. I agree, Haminator, it is. And he's about, guys, read the beat reports on Kincaid. Do you hear that? Wait, you guys hear that there? That's a drum beat. The drum beat for Kincaid. I like Conklin a lot, but I am a little worried. There's this guy, Bennett or something like that, who's been flashing for the Jets. Jeremy Ruckert, thank you. So that gives me pause. I'm thin at wide receiver. Disagree. It's 20 rounds. And it's like, who would you rather have? Diggs, Garrett Wilson, Ridley, and JSN, or Mike Evans, Dotson, OBJ, Rice, and Thielen, who has 2 extra guys? Obviously, my group is better. Oh, he has Adams too. But, I'll take my group. Yeah, you can say, like, if one gets injured, that's very bad for me. But if they don't, I'm not worried about it. Like, what's Garrett Wilson's floor? 10 to 15? Kincaid. Thank you, Steven. I'm going to try to get my YouTube membership unlocked. Something like $5 a month. Put in some fun stickers, a private Discord. I don't know. We'll advise with Pete tonight. Definitely, guys, I'll be considering late Adam. I draft both KA. Don't want to talk a bunch about later picks. Not a habit of mine to do that before I'm OTC. That's on the clock. My hands kind of hurt after banging the table. So if you were wondering, yes. I'm not fading Laporta at all. Kincaid love does not mean Laporta hate. I don't understand why people keep thinking that. Gonna guess Dan goes tight end. Boom. Let's grab DPJ. Would have grabbed Mooney over him, but like DPJ's chance to have a lot of deep touchdowns. I have drafted 52% Cade Otton. Any love for him? I would not say I have love for him, Finn. He's a guy I draft a little bit, considering most people do not. I think there's a lot of late running back darts with upside, or late round picks with upside. So I would not want all my eggs in the Cade Otton breakout. But how about it? Yeah, Dodalex. I think another thing we could look back on that people aren't realizing is like how cover 2 took the NFL by storm, if you would, and how teams adjusted to it. So there are some, this is getting to the tail end of the wide receivers, but with this room of running backs I have, I'm going to grab Devin Singletary. Seems like the clear 2 at worst there is in the Jags division. We'll probably get some games there. If Charbonnet's slow, if Penny misses games, a nice fill in at running back, and running back is also getting ugly in this range. So we got 2-5-5-2. Cole Turner scaring me with my 30% Thomas bags. Logan Thomas he's talking about. Yeah, Cole Turner's getting some buzz, man. Every year there's people that come out of nowhere. There's this Jets wide receiver who people keep on saying is going to make the team. I don't even remember his name. We might take the first share of him today. Oh, yeah. On Dodalex's comment here, it's like, cover 2, the storm of that, it's like a year or 2 old. These tight ends could be in a better situation. These rookie tight ends could be in a better situation for like the tight end position than tight ends of the past. I tried to find it, Finn. I can't. I'm assuming it's positive. I read some positive NFL beat writer buzz. Seems like Dalvin's a lock to go to the Jets or the Patriots or the Dolphins if he's just playing hardball. We're going to grab Rashid Shaheed. I think he's the same bet as DPJ in a worse offense, most likely. We're just looking for games like this, 3, 4, 95, and 1. So not consistent guys hitting my lineup. That's filled by these dudes. Darts. Yeah, I think it's a scale, Ball's Life. My first year playing best ball, I probably did 3K in action, but I had a second job at the time that I literally just took it all and put it into best ball. Steve, he left it a little long on the top, man. But like the guy worked for a while. I said, it's a little long. He didn't seem like he wanted to do it anymore. I didn't give a fuck. We got out of there. All right. I showed him a photo and I said, like short on the sides, a little bit on the top. He interpreted that a little differently. I don't know. I'm not showered since the haircut. Went on a bike ride. We'll shower after this. See how it turns out. So I'm around 40% Brees. If he goes to the Jets, 40% on fire. I mean, that's a lot of conviction already for that round pick. 40% I think is high. But no, I don't think your 40% on fire. I don't think them signing Dalvin is a death blow for Brees by any means. I would be buying the discounted Brees. Yeah. See, this is a range where it's like Chuba Hubbard's there for running back, and I used to be clicking him with somewhat confidence, but the Raheem Blackshear still lives. Conklin's there. I am a little bit worried about Rucker, I'll admit. So we're going to go John Mechie, who I think is just a starting wide receiver. Maybe the team is not good, but maybe they are. If Stroud makes it all the way back, maybe I'll take Stroud. Alex asks, would you be mad the first year you don't have a lot of Lance that Purdy gets injured and Lance goes for 35 in weeks 15, 16, and 17? 35 combined points? No, but if you're saying 35 points per game, first of all, I do have Lance because, I have some Lance shares. I'm like the only guy drafted to be in the 555. I take him in the 20th round when I need to. I could take him on this team if I felt like it. So I am okay if Lance does well. Purdy, I also take. I think he's like clearly the favorite to be the starter. But yeah, for the people who are fully out on Lance after being in, I would not be okay with that. So that's why I make sure I have some. Gronk scored 10 touchdowns his rookie year. Would you avoid taking both Mark Andrews and Likely in the same draft? I think it's fine. You can play it as multiple angles. It's like not something I'd be looking to do a lot, Arguably, Likely without Andrews is more of a ceiling outcome for you. Andrews gets hurt, now you have Likely. But I think it's fine as like a handcuff tight end scenario. I'd be wanting to go 3, though, if I go Andrews and Likely. Which I think it's fine to go 3 tight ends even when you have one of the expensive guys, especially because they're not as expensive as years past. But they also can both play on the field together. But it doesn't seem likely they're both going to play on the field together with all the wide receivers that they added. Wow. If you want to know how much of a donkey DraftKings is, Trevor Siemian out of nowhere now has an ADP who is the backup to Joe Burrow, I think. So The people are worried. Okay. Between running backs and wideouts for me, we're going to go running back first. Ty Chandler, zero correlation with the team. It's just the bet on the cheap Vikings RB2 is the hope. McCole Hardman was the wide receiver I would have taken there. I'm just not confident that Hardman is like. I take Hardman. I take Corey Davis. I just really don't have a lean how that will shake out. Conklin, I would have considered if you made it back to me too. But again, I am a little worried. All right. We'll make one of the picks at tight end. I was debating going 2 or 3 tight end. We're going 2 quarterback, 3 tight end. The Musgrave and Chandler, week 17 correlation. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Blackshear, I know, was like a standout for the Bills and then he went to the Panthers, and I don't know. A lot of these running back names we're drafting now, Chuba and gang, a lot of them are going to be showered. See you later. Thoughts on Tutu Atwell? I always viewed him more as like the backup to Cup. It's potential that he's the deep threat there. And it's potential he has the third, so he's a guy I'd like mix in, but I personally do not want a big 2-2 bag until I know how it sorts out. I know other people are confident in him. I don't share that. Definitely desperately trying to find some names here. Brees Hall tweeted out "lol" if you have any takeaways from that. Someone asked about Richie James and Justin Ross. Yes, I do draft those guys. Not like at 100% clip, but I like to bet on uncertain situations attached to an elite offense. All right. Well, we don't have to. I was trying to find. We just went with Corey Davis to stack with Rodgers. I couldn't find the name of the undrafted free agent. That's probably going to make the Jets. He's going to definitely get the Hard Knocks bump. Help me out, guys. Who's the undrafted free agent wide receiver balling for the Jets? Oh, here we go. Let's see if he's even in the player pool. I don't think he is. Jason Brownlee, not draftable. So, yes, I think Matt Collins is a good pick too. Jason Brownlee giving Sauce Gardner trouble, but I couldn't find him in the player pool. Can you guys? Okay. Between running back and wide receiver for me there, going Deontay Hardy. A potential that he wins the slot role from Shakir, shares the slot role, is just a deep threat, is like getting running back snaps and getting catches in Naheem Hines' role, punt return touchdowns. He's a hedge against Kincaid. Like the pick. I think Sean Tucker is draftable. Maybe not on DK. DK is usually pretty good. Yeah, I didn't watch the clip, Michael. We just read the headlines around here. All right, so finished up with a 2693. Tell me in the YouTube comments once I end the stream why I'm winning or not winning the $1 million. So went Diggs in the first, Garrett Wilson late in the second. Barkley is now up in people's minds. Ridley used to be get Bark. I have a Barkley share at the 2-3 turn. Ridley in the third, ETN in the fourth, Trevor in the fifth, JSN in the sixth, Waller to man the tight end slot in the seventh. Then hit a bunch of running backs, Cook, Charbonnet, and Penny. Feel good about that group, giving me some weeks. Rodgers as my QB2, and Rodgers, one of the last guys I'm comfortable going to QB with Trevor as my one. Obviously, with Josh Allen as my one, I'd go worse. Kincaid in the 12th to also hit the tight end slot and the flex. DPJ, Singletary, Shaheed, Mechie, Chandler, Musgrave, Davis, and Hardy. So don't think this team needs 9 wide receivers with me going 3 at the start. Typically, I would stop at 8 and either add an extra body at running back. But, like with ETN as my RB1 and a late anchor, if you would, and then the combo of like Cook, Charbonnet, and Penny competing for RB2, I feel real good about that group. With Singletary and Chandler also in the mix. So don't feel I'm weak at any position. Feel like it has the firepower to advance and do well in the playoff weeks. So hope you guys enjoyed this peek behind the high stakes draft scene on DraftKings.com. Again, I'm the reigning champion in this tournament. Hopefully we sun run and take it down again. Penny 250 yards with the Cardinals, winning another title. You bet it, Alex. We call him Rashad Dalla on this channel after you won me a meal. I'm going to end this broadcast, guys. Once it ends, if you could refresh your YouTube channel and write literally anything in the YouTube comments, really helps me out. A like, a subscribe. 60% of you do not subscribe. So come on, just do that little click for me. Have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow to stream, and then I'll be on tonight with Pete at 9 p.m. Peace out.